Something stopped you mid-sentence today. You're standing at your window, maybe holding a cup of coffee, maybe just staring at nothing. And a bird landed on the ledge outside. It could have landed anywhere. It landed there. And then it turned, looked directly through the glass, and held your eyes with a stillness that made the room go quiet. You did not move. Neither did it. And in that silence, something passed between you that you still cannot name. That is not nothing. And somewhere inside you, you already know that. The part that science does not prepare you for is the timing, not the bird itself, not even the stare. But the fact that this keeps happening to people at the most specific moments of their lives, not on ordinary Tuesday afternoons when everything is fine, and it happens when something has just broken open. When a person has just lost someone, when they are standing at the edge of a decision they are terrified to make, when they have been alone with a grief so private they have not said it out loud to a single living soul, that is when the bird comes. That is when it looks directly at them. And that is the question that nobody has been willing to answer honestly until now. Start with what your instincts already told you in that moment, because your instincts were not wrong. Birds do not hold eye contact with creatures larger than themselves. It is not in their nature. Violates every survival mechanism they are built around. Predators hold eye contact. Danger holds eye contact. Small bird that locks its gaze on a human face and stays there, unblinking, unmoving, is doing something that goes against everything its nervous system was designed to do, which means whatever pulled it into that stare was stronger than fear. And that detail alone should make you pause. But here is what most people miss entirely in that moment. The stillness is not passive. Watch closely the next time it happens, and it will happen again. The bird is not resting. It is not confused. Every muscle is engaged. The head is angled with precision. The eye is not wandering. It is fixed. That is not the behavior of an animal that accidentally landed near your window. That is the behavior of something that came there with intention. An intention, even in a creature that small, changes everything about what you are witnessing. There is a layer to this. It goes much further back than any of us. Across every major civilization in recorded history, on every continent and cultures, that never once made contact with each other, a bird appearing at a window and staring inward was never treated as coincidence. The Celts believed small birds carried news from the dead. Not metaphorically, literally. A bird at the glass was understood to be a soul in transit, pausing long enough to make itself known to someone who needed to feel it. In Japan, certain birds appearing at the window were considered vessels for those who had loved you and could no longer reach you any other way. In indigenous traditions across North America, sustained eye contact from a bird was a recognition, signal that your spirit had been seen by something operating on a plane that human eyes could not otherwise access. One culture believing this could be dismissed. Two cultures believing this, separated by an ocean, becomes harder to ignore. But when every culture, without exception, across thousands of years and thousands of miles of distance, arrives at the same conclusion independently, you are no longer looking at superstition. You are looking at a pattern so consistent that the burden of proof shifts. The question is no longer whether something is happening. The question is why we were ever taught to look away. And this is where it becomes personal. Think about where you were in your life when it happened. Not just the day, but the interior of that day. What had you been carrying that week that you had not told anyone? What name had been sitting at the back of your throat? What decision had you been postponing because making it meant accepting something you were not ready to accept? Because if you are honest with yourself right now, the bird did not arrive during an ordinary stretch of your life. It arrived when something in you was already cracked open. When you were already listening, even if you did not realize it yet. That is not coincidence. That is frequency. Human beings in grief, in transition, in that specific kind of quiet desperation that has no clean name, produce measurable changes in electromagnetic output, body temperature, even the pattern of micromovements that most people never consciously notice. Birds, whose sensory architecture operates at a level that makes human perception look primitive, detect these shifts at distances that would surprise you. When that bird looked at you, It was not seeing a person standing at a window. It was seeing a signal. Something in you was broadcasting at a frequency that overrode the bird's instinctive caution and pulled its entire focus directly to your face. You were not imagining it. You were being read. Now here is the part that changes the meaning of everything that came before it. And most people never get told this. The stare is not the message. The stare is the door opening in account after account of this experience across cultures and centuries and completely ordinary lives. The sustained eye contact from the bird is almost always followed by something interior. A thought arrives with a clarity that feels foreign, like it came from somewhere. Outside the usual noise, memory surfaces that had been sealed away for years without explanation. A feeling of presence fills the space around you, not threatening, not cold, but so specific. So weighted with recognition that some people describe it as the most accompanied they have felt since losing someone they loved. The bird does not carry the message in its wings. The bird creates the conditions of stillness in which you can finally receive what was already trying to reach you. That distinction is not small. That distinction is everything. The species matters here, and it matters in ways that will stay with you. A robin at your window is carrying centuries of specific weight. In British and Irish tradition, the robin has been the bird of the departed for so long that the association predates any written record that still exists. There are documented accounts of robins appearing at gravesides within hours of a burial, and remaining there for days, still and watchful, unbothered by the presence of mourners. Whether you place that in the category of the spiritual or the behavioral, the pattern does not change. It is real, and it is repeated. A cardinal changes the texture of the experience entirely.
Oh.
In the grief culture of modern America, the cardinal has become perhaps the single most recognized symbol of a soul attempting contact. And it did not become that symbol because someone invented the story. It became that symbol because too many people with no prior belief in any of this, experienced it too specifically and too consistently to dismiss. A cardinal appearing within days of a loss, staying far longer than cardinals stay, pressing close to the glass, looking in. The timing in these accounts is not approximate. It is surgical, and the people who experienced it were not looking for signs. They were just people, standing at windows, trying to survive their grief. And something arrived anyway. But the real reason this matters is not just about the dead. Sometimes, a bird is not carrying a message from someone you have lost. Sometimes it is carrying a message about you. About a version of yourself that you have been quietly abandoning. About a path you turned away from because the fear was louder than the pull. About something you know deeply and without question. That you have been pretending you do not know because knowing it requires you to change. Some of the oldest teachings surrounding this experience do not say the bird sees who you are. They say the bird sees who you are still capable of becoming. And it stops because that version of you is worth stopping for. That is the piece that tends to break people open when they finally hear it. Go back to that moment now, not with analysis, not with the part of your mind that wants to file it under something explainable. Go back with the part of you that went quiet when the bird looked at you. Ask yourself what you were thinking about in the seconds before you noticed it. Ask yourself what you had been carrying that morning that you had not set down in weeks. Ask yourself whose face came to mind when the eye contact held and the room went still around you. Because the answer was already there before the bird arrived. The bird did not bring it to you. The bird simply refused to let you keep walking. Past it, that bird was not lost, did not land there by accident, hold your gaze by chance, or stay because it had nowhere else to be. It came to a specific window, at a specific moment, in a specific season of your life. And it looked at the one person in that room. Whatever you believe about what lives beyond this world, whatever you have been told about coincidence and logic, and the cold mathematics of nature, you felt something in that silence that your ordinary life had not prepared you for. And the fact that you were still thinking about it, still carrying it, still searching for what it meant, is itself the answer. It saw you fully, quietly, completely. In the middle of everything you were carrying, something found you at your window and made sure. You knew you were not invisible. The only question left is what you choose to do with that now.